Max Holloway had one of the greatest knockouts I have ever seen last weekend and in combat sports history. And not only did he do that, but he won the BMF title. And I know a lot of people want to scoff at what the BMF title really means, but at the end of the day, what it does mean is big fights, big name opponents, main events, and most importantly, pay-per-view points. Okay? And he did enter the lightweight rankings, as of course at featherweight he keeps his spot. That kind of, and who really cares? At the end of the day, for featherweight, it's either Max or Volk next. You're not giving Brian Ortega a title shot, so it's either him or Volk. As far as lightweight, he did bump in to the rankings at number 9. I honestly think he should either be 5 or 6. You could argue, yes, Gamrot's on a streak, but he lost to Dariush. Look where Dariush has been at. I mean, Chandler's super inactive. I honestly would probably put Max at 5 or 6. And I get it's off one fight, but, at the end of the day, if you come into a division, and I get he had lost to Dustin in the past, but that was a long time ago, short notice. He actually built himself up to the division after being number 1 or 2 in this division, and he has instant success and knocks out a top 3 guy. I feel like you can put him up to 5 or 6 off one fight. Regardless, who really cares? Because we all know what's next for Max is going to have a belt on it. Is it going to be the lightweight title? Is it going to be the featherweight title? Or is it going to be a BMF defense? We haven't seen anybody successfully defend it yet. Obviously, Gaethje tried, but, will Max get the first defense? Honestly, obviously we know Islam is fighting Dustin. So could Max sit out and see the winner of that? Also, one thing people aren't talking about enough, Chandler and Conor are fighting. You're crazy if you don't think that if Conor wins this fight, he's coming after. He doesn't want to fight Islam or one of them guys. I'm not saying he's scared. It's just stylistically, is it the greatest matchup? No. Come on. Conor wants to go in there and fight strikers. And I don't blame him. If I was Conor, I would want to do the same. Max is a big fight, especially after last weekend. He's been a big name, but after last weekend going absolutely viral with one of the biggest knockouts there's been in a long time, I mean, absolute meme worthy, and there is memes everywhere, and they're still coming now, today, Thursday, which typically Tuesday, everybody's talking about the next week. I get it was a big card, all the more reason to get drowned out, and he's still all anybody's talking about. So, Conor he's looking at Max for sure, and if Conor is able to beat Chandler, Max could sit out and fight him for a BMF defense. The problem with waiting out for Conor right now is obviously he's been so inactive. Yeah, we want to hope that he's going to fight. Now he's going to get this fight in and he's going to be back, but we don't know that. So I wouldn't wait if I was Max, even though that is the right way of thinking, and I would respect that if him or his management was telling him. And obviously we know you don't want to wait for Islam. He fights once a year himself, typically. And, he's fighting Dustin. And that's not even coming first month. So you're waiting a year guaranteed if you wait for one of them guys. I think what he should do is fight Ilia Topuria. And I don't think people are saying don't go back down to 45. Why should they go back down to 45? Topuria wants a crack at the BMF title. I don't think he's deserved the BMF title, but that would be something to get him on the road to that. Maybe the rematch could be for the BMF. So I think they should fight at 155. I get Topuria is probably like, what do I get from that? At the end of the day, man, if you're trying to fight for BMF titles, you got to do BMF shit. So, I think they could fight at 55. Topuria hasn't said it have to be for. He's actually saying he doesn't want to defend his belt against them. Then don't defend your belt against Max. Go up and do some BMF stuff. Fight Max at 155. And if they have to fight at 145, they can, because Max says he can make the weight. I'd love to see him at 55. Let's get Topuria versus Max at 55. And if Topuria wins that, then even off a short resume, he could earn himself, a double champ status after that or something if he beats Max. But I think regardless, if he goes and beats Topuria, whether it's for the 45 belt or at 55, then all you gotta, go fight the winner of Chandler Conor. Even if Chandler wins, come on, I know people like to hate on Chandler. He does fight in straight bangers, and he does fit the criteria in my boat. So I think you give Chandler a shot at the BMF, and Max versus Chandler for the BMF. People would buy that. That would be a big fight. So obviously, ideally, Conor wins, and then you get the Conor versus Max rematch for the BMF title after Max beats Topuria. Even if he loses to Topuria, especially if he goes down to 145, he could be like, yeah, the weight cut's too much. I'm up at 55. I'm defending my strap. Who better than against Conor? It would almost make more sense. So go fight Topuria at 45 or 55. And I'm sure they're probably going to want to make it for the belt. I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be for the belt. Fight at 55. I mean, both guys, Topuria's not small. So, I mean, if they got to fight for the belt, then fight for the belt, obviously. But, go up to 55 after that and fight the winner of the of the Chandler versus Conor fight. Islam, stylistically, do I think that's a great matchup for him? No, I'd never count Max out or Dustin, but, I don't think those are the best matchups. I think if you're Max, man, get the big fights. And I honestly think, spoiler alert, I will be putting my money where my mouth is, I think Max beats Topuria. I think he beats Topuria, whether it's, the only thing that scares me now is he doesn't look like he's built up to the weight class like Aljo did, but I do think he put on a little bit of size, so that 45 cut might be a little tough for him. But if he can make the cut like he typically does, I've said from the beginning, and that's not me doubting Topuria, I actually think Topuria is a freaking animal. And people will say, oh, he knocked out Volk. I get that, but styles make fights, guys. Like, you can't just do MMA math like that. You can use MMA math sometimes, but just because you can beat Volk doesn't mean you can beat Max. And that's just how it goes. Max and Volk and Topuria are the clear top three. They're level above everybody else in the division. And I'm a big believer in Topuria. But I think if Max can successfully make 45, or he can talk Topuria to come up to 55, then I gotta go. I'm going Max, especially if it was 55. But even at 45, I'm taking that underdog money on Max. And then I honestly think, win or lose, after Topuria, he's gonna fight, especially if Conor beats Chandler. If Conor beats Chandler, Max and Conor are fighting. That will be their both of their next fights. So maybe if you're Max, you hold out, because it'd be risky would be obviously taking a risk every time you take a fight. Especially they did it at 55 and he lost. If at 45, it's like, we both had some losses, but this is a big rematch. BMF shit. Losses don't matter in the BMF. Yeah, man, Max has so many options, man. I think it definitely should be Topuria, and then it should be, the winner of Conor Chandler. But obviously, if he wants to fight Topuria and then fight Islam if he beats Topuria, I mean, hey, dare to be great. That would be something Max would do. But I wouldn't like his chances against Islam. I'm not going to lie. I don't think that's a great matchup. But, that's why if I'm his manager, if I'm in his ear, I'm saying, yo, we go fight Topuria. Honestly, I'm talking myself into it. Like, if you, featherweight title. Because then no matter what, you got the built-in, that weight. He would never say it, but the rumor would be out there of the weight cut, man. He's a 55er now. And then he just goes up to 55. He's still young. I get he's taking damage, but hey, man, it ain't slowing him down yet, clearly. And, yeah, man, go beat Topuria, or at least go fight him. And even if you lose, you come up to lightweight, and you fight the winner of Conor Chandler. And if it's Conor, that might be the biggest fight. That might be the second biggest fight behind Khabib Conor. I mean, that would be a huge fight. Especially if Max was the featherweight champ, and then they fought for a BMF against Conor McGregor. That would be an absolutely enormous fight. So I think that's what's next, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. If you think he should go to featherweight, lightweight, BMF defense, what are you thinking? Let me know in the comments. Like, dislike, tell me I'm absolutely the stupidest video I've ever seen, and leave that thumbs down. I appreciate y'all.